Hi, everybody. Welcome to New Student Orientation. This is Situational Awareness. So today we have David who's the Associate Director of Public Safety.
Hi,
All right,
everybody.
and I'll hand it over to you, David.
Okay, we're going to get right into the presentation, so I'll share my screen. I've pre-narrated everything, so hopefully we don't have too many technical difficulties. Can everybody see that?
I can't see the shared screen yet.
Hold on here. Shared screen.
Perfect.
You can see that? Okay, great. Let's go ahead. Welcome to Situation for 2022. This portion is presented by Teachers College for Public Safety. My name is David Gaynor. I'm the Associate Director of Operations with the Office of Public Safety, and I'm your presenter today. Later, for the Q&A, we will be joined by Jeremy Chavez, Director of Administration and Acting Chief, Rob Wilson, Director of Operations, and Matt Holt, Assistant Director of Operations. On behalf of the Office of Public Safety, I want to give you a warm welcome to Teachers College. I want to let you know that we are part of your support team. We are here for you 24/7. Your safety is our top priority. You can always come to us for assistance. Even if what you need help with isn't necessarily a public safety matter, we'll do our best to point you in the right direction. On the agenda today, we're going to talk a little bit about the Office of Public Safety and how you can reach us. We're going to get into situational awareness. We're going to provide you with some safety and planning resources. We're going to discuss some of the more recent scams that have been targeted at our TC students. We're going to talk about public transportation and some safety tips. And then we'll talk about TC Alert and why it's important to sign up for that. The Office of Public Safety has many duties and responsibilities. We're responsible for the protection of persons and property. We oversee the campus's access control, parking control. We also handle all emergency services response. That means when fire, NYPD, or EMS comes on scene, we are there to greet them. We conduct investigations, whether they be criminal, civil, or administrative. We also oversee the college's emergency operations, disaster planning, and crisis management plan. We also have a crime prevention program. We coordinate all campus special events. We are the community law enforcement liaison. We oversee electronic security controls of the campus. We do numerous safety inspections and surveys. We oversee the campus's lost and found. And we also organize the Campus Safety Advisory Committee. And we'll be asking some students to be a part of that committee. Hopefully, some of you will be interested. The Office of Public Safety also implements the college's supervision of minors on campus. So if you're in contact with persons under the age of 18 who are not enrolled students, you'll be working with us to comply with supervision of minors on campus. All of our public safety officers are uniformed proprietary public safety officers. That means they work for TC. They are not contract security. They are New York State certified. They're New York City Fire Life Safety Director certified. They are first aid, CPR, and AED certified. AED is the automated external defibrillators. We operate 24 hours, 7 days a week. Our office is located in Whittier, Suite 1A, right near the Office of Residential Services. If you need to contact public safety for an emergency, dial 212-678-3333. Please save that number into your cell phone. You can also dial extension 3333 from a campus phone. For non-emergencies, you can call 212-678-3220. You might wonder what's the difference between calling 3333 versus 911 an emergency. One of the advantages of calling public safety first is that we are on campus and you will probably get there before the police if you are on or in the vicinity of campus. And we will also call 911 for you. If you are not in the vicinity of campus, most certainly call 911 first. If you want to email us at publicsafety@tc.edu. So let's get right into situational awareness. What is situational awareness? There are many definitions. For today, this one looks like it'll serve us well. It's a mindset, and it optimizes an individual's ability to observe their surroundings using their senses, process observations via their knowledge, experience, and instincts, detect threats to their health and safety, and then avoid or mitigate those threats. That's situational awareness in a nutshell. To be situationally aware, the first thing you need to do is to observe. This means you look and you listen. You have to be present and use your senses. You have to focus on the task at hand. This means limiting the use of your electronic devices. And you also have to take notice of sudden changes from the normal state, what some people call the baseline state. Situational awareness means observing. You want to look and listen. While you're walking around, you occasionally want to look left or right to see who's behind you. You can use reflections in glass windows to see who's around you. You should be looking for alternate and exit routes. You should keep an eye out for hazards, oncoming traffic, potholes, obstacles. And you should always be listening for commotions and outcries. You definitely don't have those headphones on. Situational awareness means having a degree of focus. Let's face it, most of us are not great at multitasking. We've all seen the funny videos of people talking and texting and walking right into a pole. So we don't want to block our senses by looking into our phones or putting headphones on so that you can't hear things. You want to limit the use of your electronics. You don't want to walk and text at the same time. Even in New York City, there's a certain baseline, a certain state of normal. There's a rhythm to the street. You know, it's busy and loud. It's not always predictable, but there is an order to the madness. And sudden change should raise your awareness level. I'll take a quick look at a video of a typical New York City intersection in a time lapse. It is well known in criminology that criminals select their victims, and they often look for easy targets. They look for people who are lost and confused, who appear distracted, who appear to be in desolate areas alone, or who appear to be intoxicated. Be a hard target. Know where you are going, and how you're getting there. Don't obstruct your ability to see and hear. What we mean by that is your cell phone. Travel with a buddy, especially at night, and also avoid or moderate intoxicants. When it comes to situational awareness, attention is prevention. Research supports the value of situational awareness and remaining alert and attentive while in public. Proactively taking steps to enhance safety and dissuade criminal activity is an unfortunate but important part of personal safety. By taking the headphones out of our ears and averting our eyes from our phone screens, we will be better able to perceive potential danger and avoid attracting the attention of opportunistic criminals. Although crime is on the rise in the United States, New York City is still relatively safe. U.S. News and World Report ranked us number 24 in their safest places to live list. That was out of 317 cities with populations greater than 100,000 in the United States. Being situationally aware also means understanding the risks. Here we have the CDC top 10 leading causes of death, as you can see. 9 out of 10 are health related. Only 1 is not, and that's unintentional injuries, which means accidents. So accidental injury is a real risk. So while we want you to understand that crime is a risk, we also want you to understand that your chances of being injured in a pedestrian accident are also a real risk. Here is the Vision Zero chart for New York City for the first 6 months of 22. And you can see that there have been 50 fatalities and 3,949 injuries involving pedestrians. This means crossing the street or being in the intersection. As a pedestrian, be especially cautious of walking directly in front of high vehicles such as trucks and buses. It is simply high risk to text while walking or text while driving. Here's a PSA that the MTA put out a few years ago, which makes the point, albeit somewhat melodramatically. Here are some safety tips to help you be situationally aware. Plan your travel. Know where you are, where you're going, and how you're getting there. And there are so many map apps and travel apps that you can always do this ahead of time with your phone. Also, walk with intention. You're a New Yorker now. Fake it until you make it. Don't be a soft target. Picture the lost tourist. And don't forget to go with a buddy at night. Let's do an exercise. Can you spot the pickpocket? Here's a little. Did you spot the individual who walked in? He was dressed all in black on his cell phone. His hand was covered. He cut the line, walked all the way up, and started eyeing the guy with the backpack. Yeah, that was him. So don't keep cash, debit cards, cell phones, or identification in your backpack. Keep these important items in your front pockets. Be aware of individuals attempting to bump into you. Be aware of individuals watching you handle money and valuables. And also be aware of individuals who have clothing covering their hand. Here's a little situational awareness challenge.
Here's your challenge. How many times is the yellow backpack passed? Go. So the yellow backpack was passed 17 times. But how aware were you? Did you notice that our scene moved outside? What about the student who put on a hat and switched books? Or the woman dropping the suspicious package? Sometimes it's easy to miss the obvious. Your next challenge, be aware of your surroundings. If you see something suspicious, say something to local authorities.
Now let's talk about some planning and safety resources. If you can, have your cell phone handy. One of the ways you can plan and stay safe is by downloading the Lion Safe app by Columbia University. It is available to all TC students. Keep in mind that TC and CU public safety work closely together. This app has links in it to the shuttle bus service, to the health service. You can also call public safety from within the app. Keep in mind that we'll dial CU public safety and then they will contact us. You can also contact CU EMS from this app. So I do recommend you download Lion Safe Columbia University. As a TC student, you also have the benefit of CU transportation. This includes the intercampus shuttle. You have to show your TC ID card to board, and also the on-demand evening shuttle that operates from 8 p.m. to 3 a.m. This is through the VIA app. You need to go to the CU transportation website. Here is the QR code. Keep in mind that the VIA app is an on-demand shuttle. That does not mean it is like a car ride service like Uber or Lyft. It takes some planning. So whereas if you called an Uber or Lyft, they might be to your location within a couple of minutes. This shuttle is servicing many riders every night. So you want to call them in advance through the app. I do recommend probably about 30 minutes ahead of time from when you actually need them. TC students are also eligible to use the CU Safety Escort Program. This is the walking escort. This team operates from 7 p.m. to 3 a.m., 7 days a week. Their area is West 108 to West 110th, between Amsterdam and Riverside, and from West 110th to West 122nd, between Morningside and Riverside. You're going to call CU Public Safety at 212-854-2797 to request a walking escort during those times. Here's the QR code for the CU Safety Escort Program. Columbia University also has a safe haven program. That means if this sticker is in the window of a business, they offer students a safe haven. If something's happening, you can go into this store and ask the merchant to phone public safety or the police, and you can wait there for security personnel to respond. We also want you to be familiar with your cell phone's safety features. Both Android and iPhones have SOS abilities. You always want to know your location, and if you use the SOS, the 911 operator will begin sending help once you provide your location. All other information is secondary. Remember that. When you call 911, know your location. The iPhone SOS feature is completed by pressing and holding the side button and one of the volume buttons, or also by quickly pressing the side button 5 times. It'll go into an SOS dialing mode. You can cancel this if it's an accident. With Android phones, you'll want to go into your personal safety app. This is what it looks like. And you can set up your SOS calling feature as well. You can also program in emergency contacts that when you make an SOS call, it'll automatically notify your emergency contacts of where you are. It's also good to know that there are emergency call boxes placed strategically around the Columbia, TC, and Barnard campuses. These boxes generally have a blue light above them. To operate, you press the red button, speak, release the red button to hear. As we've said before, always know your location and provide your location and details of the incident. Public safety personnel will be dispatched. For the TC campus, our emergency box is on 120th Street between Amsterdam and Broadway, right next to the library. Now we're going to talk about some of the more recent scams that have been targeted toward our TC population. Let's watch a short news report.
The Better Business Bureau says scammers are using the pandemic to target college students. The organization says scammers are posing as professors and sending students emails with fake employment officers. If accepted, the student receives a check and then is told to send out money orders or prepaid cards. Eventually, the bank alerts the student that the check is fake, and then the scammer has their money and their personal information. The Better Business Bureau advises students to research any company offering them work before applying for that job.
The fake job scam is where the online fraudster will post a job using a fake .edu email, and then the body of the listing will always request that the victim email them at a different email address, usually because they're a traveling. The fraudster then mails a check to the victim and has the victim cash it with a promise that a portion of the check is for pay. The fraudster then requests the remaining funds be used to buy gift cards and asks for the serial numbers. Several days later, the victim's bank rejects the check and the victim is responsible for the entire amount. What are the warning signs? The job posting directs to a different email. The person offering the job is never available to meet. And lastly, the person sends a check and requests gift cards in return. That is always a warning sign. Do not pay anyone over the phone with gift cards. We also have the phantom apartment scam. The fraudster will pretend to be a legitimate real estate agent and offer the victim a too good to be true apartment rental. They will say the apartment may not be visited and will solicit payment via cell phone apps. The apartment will never be delivered and the victim's funds are gone forever. What are the warning signs? The broker says the apartment cannot be inspected. The broker is never available to meet in person. And the broker solicits funds via payment apps, meaning Zelle, Cash App, etc. We've also seen the deportation arrest warrant scam. The fraudster will call the victim from a telephone number that displays Washington, D.C., perhaps as the location. The caller will claim to be from a government agency, DHS, Immigration, IRS, and they will say there is a warrant or deportation order and that the victim is in serious legal trouble. The caller will know many personal details about the victim. At some point, the caller will say the matter can be resolved through the payment of fines and legal fees, and will demand payment be sent via payment apps, cryptocurrency, or gift cards. The victim does as instructed only to discover that it was all a ruse and their funds are gone forever. What are the warning signs? Calls from the government requesting payment over the phone. The government will never call you requesting payment over the phone. Demands for payment in cryptocurrency, gift cards, or via cell phone apps. The government will never ask to be paid in this manner. And also unheard of fines or legal costs. The government will always contact you by mail first. You will never get a phone call asking to pay fines or legal costs. So be aware, no government agencies will ever demand payment over the phone. Telephone numbers and emails are easily spoofed and they have nothing to do with the reality of who is contacting you. Email name headings and addresses can easily be made to look official. Anyone can purchase an internet domain for a relatively low cost. And in the digital age, unfortunately, all of our personal information is for sale on the cheap, both on the web and the dark web. So when somebody calls you and sounds legitimate because they have some information about you, that does not mean they are real. You should hang up the phone, and if anything, go to Google, look up the actual telephone number for that agency and call them directly. Let's watch the NYPD's PSA on gift card scams.
Let's say someone calls and says he's from the IRS. He says you owe taxes. You right away by getting a gift card at the store. Should you do it? No, it's a scam. Government agencies will never make you pay with a gift card. Now let's say the caller claims to be from a tech support company. He says he needs to fix a problem with your computer after you pay him with the gift card. Should you? No, That's a scam too. Real tech support companies don't work like that or make you pay with a gift card. What if you get a call from someone who says she's a relative or friend and needs money right now? She begs you to go buy her a gift card. Should you do it? No, that's also a scam. Gift cards wouldn't help real family members or friends in a real emergency. Gift cards are for gifts, not for payments. Anyone who tells you to pay with a gift card is a scammer. And once you've shared the gift card number and PIN, your money is probably gone. So what do? If you have paid with a gift card, contact the company that issued the card right away, and then tell the FTC. Reporting to the company and the FTC helps us fight these scams. If you lost money in this or any other scam, also file a police report with your local precinct. A message from the NYPD Crime Prevention Division and the Federal Trade Commission. Go to ftc.gov/gift cards to learn more about how to protect yourself and others.
Be aware. Here are some tips from the FBI to prevent phishing and spoofing scams. Protect your devices by using antivirus and anti-malware software. Don't assume that a message that looks like it's from a friend or business associate see it. Be aware that if anyone asks you to make payments through apps such as Zelle or Cash App, or they ask you to make a bank wire transfer, or they ask you to send gift card serial numbers over the phone, that these funds would be impossible to recover. If anyone asks you to make payments in this manner, call public safety immediately. Now let's talk about public transportation and some safety tips in New York City. Context is always important. Yes, there is crime in the public transportation system, but you have to keep in mind that the ridership in the subway in 2021 was 760 million. That's almost twice the population of the United States. Bus ridership was 312 million. These are massive numbers, so you're going to see some crime in those systems. Keep in mind that the subway system and the bus system are the primary modes of transportation to and from school for most students in 7th to 12th grade in New York City. Know before you go. Get complete information on your destination before departure. Try using the following free app to assist locating the best route. It's available in Google Play and in the iTunes Store, My MTA. The advantage of this app also is that it also makes you aware of any closures or interruptions in service. Currently, the New York City subway and bus fare is $2.75. There are two ways to pay. You can purchase a Metro card, or you can pay using Omni. Here's a little video about Omni.
What time is it? It's Omni education time. Omni is the new way to pay for your subway and bus rides. And everything you need to use it right now is probably in your pocket. And I'll tell you, once you try it, you'll never go back. If you have a bank card with this symbol, just tap the card flat on the Omni reader. When the screen says go, you're good. It's that simple. If you have a smartphone or a wearable, you'll need to set up a digital wallet if you don't already have one on the device. Every device is different, so check with the manufacturer for instructions, or just ask a young person to help you figure it out. Once your digital wallet is set up, just tap the device on the Omni reader. Once you get the go screen, it's Omni time, and that's how you use Omni. For more information, please check out our website. And don't forget to wear your mask.
If you prefer the bus system mostly, here's another great app, MTA Bus Time. This is so when you're standing in the bus stop, this app will give you a GPS location of the incoming bus. When you wait for the bus in New York City, remember situational awareness. Know your bus shelter location and stay alert. Don't get buried in your phone. When you get on the bus, you want to enter from the front and pay your fare. Never enter from the back unless directed to by the operator. If you're using select bus service, remember that you have to retrieve your ticket before boarding. This means you have to go to the machine, put your payment in, get your ticket out, and then you can get on the bus. At subway entrances, you'll see colored domes. Green colored domes means the station is open, that there's a station attendant, and you may enter. Red domes means you may not enter and that there is no station attendant. Be aware of the open gate and red dome trick. This is where somebody props that gate at the bottom of the stairs and the red dome open. You think you can get in. When you get down there, they trap you, and now you're the victim of the crime. While there is free Wi-Fi in many stations, don't display your expensive electronics unless you have to. Every subway station has free Wi-Fi in Manhattan. This gives most cell phone carrier users the access to talk and browse while on the ground. However, Wi-Fi does not work while the train is in motion. But remember, only use your phone if you have to. If you ever walk into a subway station, it's a rare occasion, but it can happen. There's a sign in the window that says the booth is closed. That means there's no booth clerk working. This means you'll have to use the MetroCard machine or OmniPay to board the train. In most stations, there is a customer assistance intercom. You'll see the red sign. They don't always work. But if you need assistance, that is a direct contact to the booth if the booth is not closed. You'll see some different MetroCard machines in the system. You can see here the one on the left takes cash. You can see the big green area and the money denominations on it. They'll let you know that. The machine on the right has no green, which means it does not take cash. So you don't want to wait in line on that one if you only have cash. If your payment fails, don't jump the turnstile. It's very easy to get hurt doing so. Also, don't double up or don't be doubled up, meaning someone comes in behind you. Sometimes if your MetroCard doesn't work, it'll tell you to swipe again. You will not be double charged. Also, it can tell you to see the agent. This often tells you that there's something wrong with your MetroCard. You're going to have to go to the booth. Many stations have these floor-to-ceiling turnstiles. You can only go out, you cannot get in. One of the tricks that some criminals use is there'll be a criminal on one side and a criminal on the other side. And when you try to walk through here, they trap you inside by holding the spinner. So be aware if you see people standing both inside and outside, which people normally shouldn't do if they're exiting the subway system. The emergency exits are exactly that, only for emergencies. If you use them for routine exiting, you can get a summons. When you're waiting for the train, stand behind that yellow apron. Keep in mind, when that train enters the station, it's pushing a lot of air. And when the train goes by you, that can destabilize your balance. So stand well behind that yellow apron. It's not unusual to see construction or some other hazards in the subway stations. You want to look out for them as you're walking. Do not lean too far over the edge or stick your head out to confirm the train arrival. Every year there are incidences where a rider pokes his head out to see where the train is, and he's looking the wrong way and actually gets hit in the head by the train. It's a way to get seriously injured. Beware of the electrical hazards in the third rail. That third rail is the one usually on the outside rail of the train. It has a cover on it. That cover is not a step. That is meant to keep debris off the third rail. Don't ever board the train between the cars. And don't ever cross the cars while the train is in motion. Every year, numerous people get seriously injured or killed going between cars of these subway trains. Don't ever lean on or hold the doors. It is so easy to get a sleeve or the loop of a bag or a belt caught in between the doors and get dragged down the platform. If you have to use your electronics while you're riding the train, be alert, look who's around you, and try not to sit next to those open doors.
Stay alert. Keep electronic devices out of sight. Call 911.
Here are some subway crime prevention tips. When you're on the platform, the safest place to wait is behind the yellow line, away from the platform edge. Be mindful of your belongings at all times, particularly when using personal electronic devices. And hold on to your pocketbooks and backpacks, keeping them in front of you, even if you are using the shoulder straps. Keep your wallet out of sight and avoid keeping in your rear pocket. Do not place your wallet or purse inside of a shopping bag or other open container. Keep them in a closed handbag or pocketbook and keep those bags in front of you. Keep in mind, thefts from sleeping passengers make up 1/4 of all major subway crime. Remain alert, avoid falling asleep on the subways. Here are some transit sex offense awareness tips. Being groped or flashed should not be part of your subway ride. The NYPD is committed to preventing and addressing sex crimes in the subways. Here are some tips. Remain alert and aware of your surroundings. A crowded train is no excuse for an inappropriate touch. Trust your instincts. Be aware of those around you, especially someone uncomfortably close to you. Remove yourself immediately from that area. Remember that photographing or filming a person's intimate body parts without consent is a crime. Please report it. If you are a victim of a sex offense on the subway, here's what to do. Alert a police officer or any MTA employee. If you witness sexual misconduct, we encourage you to report it. Provide as much information as you can. It may be possible to prosecute without you having to testify or appear in court. When reporting, you may remain anonymous. However, we encourage you to provide your contact information. Such information may greatly assist investigators and result in a successful prosecution. If you're taking the train to the off hours, you may want to wait in a designated waiting area. You see a big sign that says off-hour waiting area. You can also wait directly under the electronic schedule. When you're walking around the subway system, you can also use the security mirrors to look behind you. You can also use the reflection from the ceramic wall to see behind you. There are cameras in the subway system, but be mindful that they don't always work. It can be beneficial to remember the car identification number when you get on the train. This way, if you lose something, you give that number to the police so that they know what car you were riding in. If you are riding the trains late at night, it's helpful to know the location of the conductor. When you're standing on the platform, look for that big sign with the zebra stripes on it. That's where the conductor's car will stop in the station. If there is an emergency on the train, don't pull the emergency brake while the train is traveling in the tunnels. It will stop while you're in the tunnel and you will be stuck on the train car with that emergency. It's best to wait until you pull into the station. What to do if you fall on the tracks. Number 1, don't panic. Number 2, yell for help. Number 3, if possible, stand in the wall niche or lay in the center of the tracks. If the train enters the station, you will survive in those places. There is room to live. Here's a transit safety tip. There's a blue light at the end of the platform. Under that blue light is an emergency phone box. That emergency phone connects automatically to transit dispatch, and you can call for help. Remember, if you see something, say something. Report crime or suspicious activity to 911. Now let's talk about TC Alert, TC's emergency notification system. TC Alert is the Teachers College electronic notification system. It enables fast and efficient dissemination of urgent information through text and voice messaging. Notifications could be information, any of the following, that could have a serious or severe impact on campus activity or could result in injury, property damage, or both. This includes college campus closings due to severe weather, police and fire emergencies that may affect the academic or residential buildings, and natural, man-made, or other serious events that impact the college operation in part or in whole. If you see a TC alert on your phone, please pay attention to it. We only send out TC alerts for imminent and ongoing threats. We do not use TC alert for routine communications. The sign up is through MyTC. Please follow this QR code to sign up for TC alert. This concludes today's presentation. I want to thank you for your time and attention. I want to let you know that public safety is on your team and we are rooting for your success. Thank you again.
Thank you for that, David. So let's open it up to the audience, and we have a few questions. The first one is, do you have any advice for students who live far away from campus, such as the Upper West Side, and are nervous about commuting alone, especially if they stay on campus late at night?
The best advice if you're commuting alone, if you're on the train, is to use the advice that was in the video about getting on the conductor's car. That's the car with the zebra stripes. At least this way, you know there's somebody else on that train car with you. The buses are usually pretty safe at night.
Wonderful. And then somebody also asked, what does at night mean? What time specifically would you advise not walking outside or taking the subway alone?
The subway is at night can mean definitely something different because it's pretty busy even until the late evening, 9 o'clock at night, 10 o'clock at night. So at night for the subway really means probably after 10 o'clock till about 5 in the morning. It can get a little desolate down there. So you'd want to be familiar with where you're going. You definitely want to know where the conductor's car is.
Perfect. Thank you. So this next question I can answer. Somebody asked, does TC provide student discounts for public transportation? So Teachers College does not provide student discounts for public transportation. However, some of our events, you can receive a Metro card for transportation to that event and back home from that event. And then the last question that we have, and anybody else, if you have any questions, feel free to put it in the Q&A box. Can you share the PDF after the session? There were some numbers and names of apps that I missed.
Sure, yes.
Perfect. And then let's give it maybe another minute or so if anybody else has any questions.
And if it puts anyone's mind at ease, I'll share this. My 13-year-old daughter takes the New York City subways every day to and from school. And if I thought they were dangerous, I certainly wouldn't let her get on those trains alone.
Absolutely. I definitely remember going on the subway myself. So even in middle school, elementary school, high school, all throughout, as long as you practice, what you had shared during this webinar. And somebody actually asked, how do I sign up for TC alerts? The barcode didn't work for me.
So if you go to my TC, log in, you'll see, I don't know exactly where there is in there, but there's a link to TC alert. I could bring that. The QR code didn't work at all for anybody, or?
You want to bring up the QR code and then I can try it on my end?
Yeah. Can you see that?
Yep. So I'm going to click on it right now. It's taking me to my TC login. And I'm logging in with my very long password. Then you need to authenticate with Duo. Okay. Yep. It seems to work on my end. So it took me to the alert setup. And I'm not too sure if people can see it, probably not.
Yeah, it's important to sign up for that. Public safety doesn't use that routinely. We don't send out email notices or text based on just events, for example. It's always something serious if we send out a TC alert.
Perfect. And anybody who wants to, if you would like to put your email address in the chat function, we can send out the PDF afterwards that way. So somebody had asked, could you please name the phone apps one more time, especially for Metro and buses?
Yes, if you go into Google Play or the App Store, look for My MTA. And that's a really good app. I use it all the time. And it'll help you map out whether you want to use a train or a bus. And then there was also Bus Time. Look for the app called Bus Time. And that app's really good because all New York City buses are GPS and it'll tell you exactly how far away your bus is.
Wonderful. All right. Any other questions? Let's give it another minute or so. And then David will can send us the PDF afterwards. And if you want to share your email in the chat box, we can send it directly to you.
I don't think I had too many technical difficulties.
You did it. It went really smoothly.
I won.
I loved it. Okay, I think we have 2 more questions coming up. Oh, I see. The chat box is disabled. Sorry about that, everybody. Thank you for putting your email into the Q&A. I'm just going to copy and paste these now. Someone just asked, would you recommend using City Mapper, Transit, or Google Maps for subways and buses?
I'm not familiar with 2 out of 3 of those. I use Google Maps all the time, and it's really a great resource for getting around, especially because it has the functionality where you can choose the path for pedestrians, for vehicles, or for mass transit.
Perfect. And some emails are coming in, taking screenshots of them. All right, any other questions? Somebody just asked, are pepper sprays allowed to be used on campus?
I I don't know the policy actually, so I would say no. I don't, otherwise we would probably have an exception for it. I know that you cannot buy pepper spray legally in New York City. So I would say no, don't bring pepper spray on campus.
Thank you, David. These are all really great questions. So if anybody else has any others, you can submit them anonymously if you'd like.
Yeah, I don't think we have a particular pepper spray policy. We just have a policy against all weapons. So I would say that includes pepper spray.
All right, we have another question. How do you recommend we defend ourselves if we were ever attacked?
If you're attacked, I would recommend the first thing you want to do is make a lot of noise. People that want to do something criminal to you or abduct you, they don't want to be seen or noticed if they can help it. And one of the mistakes victims sometimes make is going quietly. So I advise never go quietly. Always scream, fight. If you're able to, it doesn't hurt to have a whistle or something in your pocket that you can make a lot of noise with and draw attention to yourself, and use all your might to try to break free if somebody's trying to attack you. Now that's very different, by the way. If somebody's trying to steal your property, always give up your property. Your property is never worth your life. If you feel your life is in danger, though, you want to fight right there and make a lot of noise.
I will also say one of the most, or I can see how if somebody were to unexpectedly come up to me, I would probably be shocked, right? And I wouldn't know how to react at that point. And it's a very normal response. However, I appreciate that you're putting our mind there, right? Our body can't go where our mind doesn't go.
That's true. One of the normal responses for people in under a lot of stress and threat of violence is to freeze. So you kind of have to do mental experiments with yourself of how you would react. And the one bad thing is to freeze. You'd rather, we always hear the term run, hide, or fight, right? You want to either run. Run's usually the best thing you can do if you can get away. If you can't get away, you want to fight. You do not want to freeze, and you never want to just go along. I'm sure you've all watched true crime TVs. Generally speaking, if you get abducted, you're usually never seen again. So you don't want to go along with abductions. There's not a lot of abductions going on in New York City. I just want to put everybody's mind at ease. But yeah, I would say fight and run. Don't freeze.
Yeah, and definitely practice the things that you shared in this webinar.
The way you walk around New York City can do a lot to prevent you from being seen as an easy target. And I was trying to get that out in the presentation. It's really important. That's why mostly it's important to know where you're going, how you're getting there, so that you walk with a degree of confidence.
Absolutely. We have another question. What are the most common crimes reported in TC?
So our campus is extremely safe. The most common crime, and we try to hit on it, is the scams. Many of our students, especially our international students, are getting these calls. They're unprepared for it, and they wind up getting scammed, sometimes off of terrible amounts of money. So that's number one crime. We really don't have much other crime to speak of, and that's published in our annual security report. If anyone wants to take a look at it, that's on our website. Very low crime campus.
Thank you, David. All right, let's see if there are any other questions that trickle in. We have around 6 minutes left. Oh. How do these scammers choose their victims since they are mostly calls or messages or emails?
They dial thousands and thousands of numbers at a time, and they see who answers. That's really how they do it. So when you see those calls, and this is really something to be wary of, anybody can spoof a phone number, and you'll see it on your phone. You'll think it's a legitimate phone number from the Bank of America, for example, and it's not. So you got to be really careful of those. You should always, if you get calls from banks or agencies, you want to hang up that phone and call them back on their listed number. But yeah, they just do mass volume is how the scammers find people. Yeah.
I've even gotten messages where it's a group chat and I don't recognize any of the numbers and they'll just say something like, hey, are you still up for Saturday night?
Yes, yes. And it's especially important. Don't click on any links in a text message or a chat that you don't know that person and that they're not in your contacts.
Perfect. Any other questions from anyone? These have been great so far. I'm learning a lot, so I appreciate this.
It's my pleasure.
Okay. Well, if there are no other questions, thank you everybody for joining us. Thank you, David, the team at, oh, we have more questions. Is there any phone recognition app I can use so I won't accept scammer calls?
Most of these services, I don't know about all of them, but like I have T-Mobile and they actually have a scammer app they provide you with that weeds out some of those scam calls. So check with your carrier. You may be surprised they may have something already built in that you can just turn on.
I know for Google phones, they'll actually screen the call and it'll send it to a voice messaging. So it'll just say, please state your name. And then that person can, state their name and you're listening to the entire conversation.
Yeah, there's definitely some helpful apps out there. There's even some what they call whitelisting apps where only your contacts can reach you. But I don't know if that's always a good idea.
Yeah. You never know. All right, we have some guests who are really appreciative, not a question, but thank you so much for hosting this session. I feel much safer and more knowledgeable. Another person wrote, thanks a lot, very helpful session.
You're very welcome. And the Office of Public Safety is wishing all of our new students all the best in the upcoming academic year.
All right, well, that wraps it for today. Thank you everybody for joining us. Thank you, David. Thank you, TC team. We'll see you at another event.